full disclosure, this is only the second Bond film that I have watched all the way through, and the first one was only for something to do on a ferry. So welcome to my review of No Time to Die. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina. I make bookish content here on this channel every week and then movie reviews just like this one here at the weekend. All of my movie reviews are spoiler free, and I will leave a playlist of my recent reviews linked up above in case you are looking for something to watch at the cinemas or on streaming this week. I asked if you wanted to hear my thoughts on the new Bond film because I would not go and see it out of my own choice. However, one of you commented on a previous video and asked me how it was, so here we are. This is my review. Just to preface this by saying I do know that there was a new Marvel film out on Friday. I am seeing it tomorrow, so I will have a bonus movie review video up for you on Tuesday, I think. But I am seeing it quite late, so if you're prepared for me to film it fairly bleary-eyed on Tuesday morning, that is fine. Make sure you are subscribed and have your notification bell turned on so that you don't miss out on that review if you are here for Marvel news as well, because I do love a Marvel movie. So James Bond, obviously I am aware that this is Daniel Craig's last Bond film. However, having been around when other people in the household have watched Bond films, my parents have watched Bond films, my husband has watched Bond films, and so I've been around, but I've actively chosen to go and read my book instead. I have seen the other Bonds that there have been over the years, and I do think that Daniel Craig does make an excellent Bond. Watching him on screen, he was very magnetic as Bond. I've only seen him in what's it called, where he's the detective from Kentucky. I've seen him in that, and I've seen him being himself on SNL and on talk shows. So seeing him as Bond, I thought he was, very magnetic, very easy to relate to, and fitted that kind of like suave, not bad boy, but that James Bond personality. I think James Bond is its own personality, that 007 life. I do think that this film is too long. The biggest thing, the thing that really reflects how long the film is, and the fact that it's too long, because it's 2 hours 43 minutes, and this is coming from me that went and saw Avengers Endgame 5 times in cinemas, and that's like 3.5 hours long. So I don't have a problem with a long film, but it's just too long when you feel like it's too long. And the opening credits come what feels like halfway into the film. I think we're definitely about half an hour into the film. I should have looked it up before pressing record on this video, but the opening credits come after way too long into the film. You're watching bits, and then suddenly it's like, oh, here's the opening credits. But the opening credits have the theme song. I do really like this theme song. I generally am a fan of Bond theme songs. When I think about the films that we've had previously that I have not watched, I have heard most of the songs and can sing a lot of them. And so I do like a Bond theme song, and I do enjoy this one. So there's my thoughts on the theme song. The fact that the opening credits are most of the way through the film, it's an interesting choice because they are long opening credits as well. I was like, are these the end credits? Can we go now? Because that first opening bit before the opening credits is so incredibly loud and violent. And if you are someone who is coming into this kind of without the Bond history and without the specifically Daniel Craig as Bond history, there's a lot of stuff to take in. There's a lot of stuff with some history that you don't necessarily know about, and there's a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, this has happened, and there's this person and this group, and we're meant to know who this person is, and so you're not really invested in those characters yet. If you are coming to it from a Daniel Craig as Bond history, you'll probably know the characters and you'll be more invested in it. I mean, I know who the characters are, obviously, but I feel like, coming into it as an outsider, shall we say, I felt very confused by the opening sequence, and it was very, very loud. When you've been to like a gig or a nightclub or a bar that's really loud and you come out and your ears are ringing, I came out of the cinema and my ears were ringing. The next day I was in the car and I couldn't hear what other people in the car were saying. Like, I'm still quite deaf from having watched Bond at the cinema. So I do like going to the cinema to have that big screen and big sound experience. But I think because Bond is just so, like, it's like cars and shooting and revving and music and shouting kind of all at the same time. And there was a lot of shooting and there was a lot of explosions in this one. And to me, it was just that part, it was too loud and too violent. And that makes me sound really prudish. Again, I will remind you that I'm not adverse to an action movie. I do like the Marvel films, and those are generally quite loud and quite violent. However, I will refer you back to my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, because I particularly liked that one because the violence wasn't shooting and explosion based. So if you haven't seen that one, I will leave that one linked up above, or I'll leave it in the end screen. But yeah, I'm not opposed to that in any way, but I just felt like there was too much of it and it was too frequent and too loud. When we got into the main body of the film and we got into kind of like, right, here's Bond now and here's what's making him tick right at this moment, and here's the problem, and here's what we think we're going to do to have to get over the problem, you know, your main plot point of the film. I thought that that was definitely easy to follow, especially as someone who was an outsider. It was just that first bit before the credits, and I think if I'd been on my own, I probably would have left. So that first bit before the credits, I think, really does alienate half the audience. But once you get into the main body of the film, it was pretty decent. There wasn't as much shooting. There wasn't as much loud violence and loud action scenes, because there can be action scenes that aren't super, super loud. As we crescendoed towards the end, again, it did get too loud. There's all sorts of very, very loud vehicles, and there was just kind of too many of them all at the same time. And so again, as I say, I left and my ears were ringing. But the actual plot point and the explanation of, you know, who we are, where we are, what the problem is and what we're going to do about it, I did enjoy that. And obviously, because this is Daniel Craig's last outing as Bond, there's a lot of emotion attached to this film. And I will tell you, I did actually cry at the end. And this is coming from someone who's never seen Daniel Craig as Bond and has only seen one other Bond film before. And the film made me cry. No spoilers as to why. It was just emotional and I did cry. I'm glad I saw it. I would have loved to have seen it in IMAX. I wish I had been back at my home cinema, as I still think of it, and had been able to see this one in IMAX. I don't think I would have enjoyed it in Dolby because I think it just would have been too sensory overload for me personally. But I think if you really like that, like, all guns blazing type of action film, it would have been amazing to have seen it in Dolby. I saw it in no enhanced format, in not the most modern of cinemas, and it was still pretty good. It kept me engaged after that initial section. You have to get over that hump of the initial section and then the really long title sequence with the good song. But yeah, I also felt like that section, because it was overloaded with shooting, it felt like there was an awful lot of CGI in that bit, and so that kind of really got to me as well. I liked the exotic setting. I enjoyed Rami Malek as a villain, and I really enjoyed Daniel Craig as Bond. I think he did make a good Bond, and I would consider seeing the other ones if I could see them on the big screen. If the opportunity came up to watch the other Daniel Craig Bond films on the big screen, I might go and see them because I think they could be something that was decent to watch. But yes, thank you so much for requesting this video. I will be back, as I say, with a bonus movie review of Marvel's Eternals for you, hopefully on Tuesday. So keep everything crossed for that. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that when it pops up on Tuesday. I am going to see another couple of films this week, so I will have a new movie review for you next weekend. And if there is anything else you want me to go and see in the meantime, do let me know in comments. I will be back with more bookish content for you again during the week. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching.